Donna.
I'm Jill.
Coming to you from the purple room. Actually, it's purple and black, but the purple room. So, this week we're going to talk about childhood. Our childhoods.
This one, Mama's got an envelope.
I got envelopes. See?
For her list of good childhood memories.
Yeah. I managed to fill the back of an envelope. See?
So this one, it'll still be good. It'll be about like the last one. It won't be all sad. There'll still be some good, but this just kind of gives you. We have to start at the beginning to give you a little background before we get into other stuff for certain things to make sense about this podcast.
And we have a special guest. Her name is Bailey.
Yeah, as an old little gal, but a sweet little gal.
She's a snuggle baby. When you lay down, if you sit on a couch and she climbs on you, she's going to put you right to sleep.
It's just like a sleeping blanket.
Yep, she will knock you out.
Ah, sweet.
So I'll you go ahead and start where you want to start.
Well, do you want to talk about your week? Like, how was your week?
Could be better.
How was yours?
Ours, so 2 weeks ago, the dryer almost caught the house on fire. So we had to get a new washer and dryer, and then Saturday night, Sunday, I can't remember what night it was. I went to go get a shower, and the hot water would never get hot. So our hot water heater went out, but it was probably it could have been 20 years old. It could have been older. I have a Bailey hair in my nose. So it was due time to go anyways. We got it fixed today, but just life in general. But other than that, how did yours go?
Mine went pretty much normal. Decorated for Bailey.
Your eyes, you sweet girl.
Decorated for a wedding this past weekend. And it was a small wedding, but it was fun. It was fun. I found out I like small weddings better than massive weddings.
Not as chaotic.
You're not as exhausted. Still tired, and my feet were screaming, but it was more fun.
You didn't wear heels, did you?
No, I got some new boots.
Oh, okay.
But hence the word new, and they were high like riding boots.
Oh, Lord.
So I was trying to break in new boots. Yeah, that didn't work too good.
That was a wise choice.
Yeah. Well, I've never been accused of being real smart anyway. So some of the things I have never really heard that much is, Donna, you are the smartest person I know. I have never heard those words uttered in my life. Never will. So anyway, but did that, and then we went with Alan today to the doctor. He wasn't even going to go. But Friday afternoon, he hit his wrist on the peanut combine. Didn't tell me till Saturday. He's like, I think I may have broke my wrist. Big old goose egg up here. I'm like, well, yeah, you may have. Like, you want to go to the emergency room? Nah, it'd be all right. I asked him Sunday, you want to go to the emergency room? Nah, it'd be all right. I think it's a little better. Anyway, I called today and got him in. Thank goodness it wasn't broke, but he banged it up pretty good. So anyway, they gave him some medicine to help with inflammation. So, but other than that, I think
that's a normal week.
I think it's been just a normal.
Even with that, that's just a normal.
That's just the norm. So, but childhood. Do you want to talk about yours first, or you want me to talk about mine, or
that's your call?
Mine's gonna be pretty short. This is
that's your call.
Well, let me.
Because yours could be short or it could be longer. It depends on we can make this into a 2-part. We can talk about it all tonight, but we could just make this into 2 episodes, or because yours consists of, unfortunately, more bad than good. So mine's that's your call.
Well,
It
let me
depends on what
see.
you want to dive into.
Let me see. I grew up in a small town. And the great thing about growing up in a small town was when I grew up was then we could get on our bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
We could go ride all around the town and the streets, and there was a cemetery down kind of like towards the end of town. And so we'd ride down
Talking
to
about the one as you go into like where the gas station, there's the gas station beside it and the bridge.
yeah, right before you get to the bridge.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know where you're talking about.
We'd ride all the way down there, and then we'd ride to the end of that street where it butted up to 41. And so then we'd just ride all the back streets. And I mean, it was safe. Like, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. I wouldn't let True out in the backyard by himself for 2 seconds now. But we'd get up, especially on Saturdays. I'd be gone all day long. Nobody would know where I was.
Isn't that so nice?
Yes, it was really nice. But I'd get up and be like, I'm going to ride my bike, okay? And I'd be gone constantly. And then it was the time of 1-cent candy, 2-cent candy, 3-cent, and then you popped all the way up to 5-cent candy.
That was expensive candy.
You could take $1 and come out with one of those little paper sacks loaded.
See, there's a reason Brandon wasn't born back then, because he would have the diabetes.
Diabetes.
He would have the diabetes because the man, anytime he does an Amazon order, it never fails. He orders about 4 bags of candy, not small bags either.
Well, you know, Walmart's got their
Big.
Halloween candy half off.
We're not telling him that.
That'd be
Because
cheaper.
when I got in his truck, I found 2 bags in there in the front seat already.
Of Halloween candy?
No, just candy. I thought it was my wallet, and I reached over, and it started crinkling, and it was little ring gummy worm things.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it now, if it was, you know, if you really had some money then, like a quarter, you could get the big pixie sticks, or you could get the fun dip thing. But it was the longer pouches. It wasn't these
They
little
don't make
short
long
ones.
pouches anymore, do
They
they?
don't make the long ones anymore. You had like a grape, a red, and a green, I think.
Yeah, they don't make those
And you
anymore.
got 2 sticks.
Shoot.
2 of the candy sticks. And then there was a senior citizens thing right down from where I lived, and it had a bench outside. So we'd go sit on that bench at the senior citizen center and watch traffic go by. Eating our candy. So, but the senior citizens would go and get that big old block of cheese. Like, it was like this long. Cheese. It was this long.
Not candy, but cheese.
And this wide. It's like Velveeta on steroids. Like, it was massive.
Oh
and then they would get like these big old things of peanut butter.
Oh, cheese and peanut butter.
It was some type of federal program, but senior citizens would get, what did they get? They got cheese.
Is it something like WIC, but for older folks?
I think so, but like they just, I guess when you hit a certain age, you got to go to the senior citizen center and get it. And so I just remember grandmother having these.
Lots of cheese and peanut butter.
But I mean, they were like this wide. and they were like this wide.
Can
and
you picture
this
though
long.
now somebody walking up to somebody and going, I'm going to go get my big block of cheese.
I'm going to go get my cheese and my peanut. What else did they get? They got something else.
They give them something to drink.
No.
After all that peanut butter.
I guess they figured they could have water. But like it was cheese and peanut butter and I forget what else. But anyway, sometimes they would be up there getting their stuff at the senior citizen thing. And I mean, it was super tiny. But we'd be sitting on the senior citizen bench eating
Y'all eating candy, they
eating our candies.
cheese.
And we sitting there watching traffic go by, or I remember one time me and her name was Mabby. She would come down and see her granddaddy that lived right behind us. And he was the mayor. And so we would kind of climb up in the tree, like right next to 41. I mean, it was literally, you could spit and hit that tree. We were sitting in that tree and there was a, hey, Bailey. And there was a guy walking along the sidewalk. And that dude, he was just going to town, man. He was scratching, he was trying to find his brain. And then he ate it.
Oh my gosh. See, this is why you don't eat just random stuff from random folks, because you don't know what they do.
But anyway, that would be like our Saturdays, and she would only come down every so often, and then we'd go swimming, and that's where I learned to swim. Let me see.
I think you need to review over y'all's house too, like what y'all's house was like.
Oh yeah, we lived in a single wide trailer.
But it wasn't
was
the
the
single wides we have now.
It was the
like a
70s
smaller-
single wide trailer. It had 2 bedrooms. What we had for a heater was a gas stove. And I remember poor mama. She would get up before we had to get up for school and stuff. And she'd turn the eyes on, she'd turn the stove on, and she would open the door early enough that it would begin to heat the house so that it would be warm when we got up.
Right.
And then we had just a little plug-in heater in the bathroom so that when we went into the bathroom to get a shower or whatever, that would be warm. So she would get up and make sure, we were warm and everything. And then we had, let me see, Mom and Daddy had their room. Then we had a bedroom that had bunk beds. And when I remember being in my crib. I remember being in my crib in Mom and Daddy's room. And then I moved to the bunk beds. And Quint was on top. And I on the top bunk. I was on bottom bunk because I was too little to be on the top bunk. Because I was afraid I'd roll off. And then Trent was on the rollaway bed in the living room. So they just put it up every night and rolling in our room.
Right.
And then when I got old enough, me and Quint switched.
I was going to say, I thought at some point you were on the top bunk.
Yeah, because Quint's tall. And so I moved to top bunk, and then he was bottom bunk. And then, Trent was on the rollaway bed. And then I had all my little stuffed animals in the corner at night, and I'd tuck them in. And if they fell over, I'd wake up and I'd tuck them back in. But there's reasons for that that'll come another day. But then my toys. Let me tell you my toys. We had to be creative when we were growing up. Like, I had a doll. We had Tinker toys. I had pickup sticks. We had jacks.
But there ain't nothing better than a set of Tinker toys, though.
No, and then I had a doll. She was in a basket, and then she had in that basket, I would put her to sleep in it, and she had a bottle. She had
This wasn't
clothes.
none of them creepy dolls you used
Oh
to
no,
have
no,
in
no,
the
no, no,
storage
no!
house,
These ain't
was it?
these ain't those you see in antique shops
No,
that
no,
make
no.
you want to run.
The ones you used to have in the storage house at the old house. This ain't any of
Oh
them.
no,
Okay.
no!
If it's
She
to
was
say, 'cause
now
them
she
were-
would be now. Like, she looked like she was possessed. She'd probably look like Annabelle. You know Annabelle? Ain't that the creepy doll? Okay, yeah, no. She was
Because
like,
some of them you pulled out, I was like, No.
Were any of them in a basket?
I don't know,
closet
but I remember
basket?
you asking, "Do you want any?" No. No.
Oh, no.
Because you had some of them clown looking things and
Oh,
some
no.
with the little tears and.
Oh, yeah.
So,
No. Mm-mm.
mm-mm. I
No,
don't
those
do
were
clowns.
clowns. No.
I don't do clown.
No.
Nope.
But I had a doll with the basket and stuff. And then, but what we would mainly play with too was we would have the big wash tubs, and we would get them off the side of the big storage house. And then we would take leaves. We had pecan trees, so we'd take the leaves. We'd fill the tub up with water, put the leaves in the water, pretend like we were washing clothes.
We used to do that at Neema's, but she got on to us because we took them off her ferns. I think that's originally why she started sticking forks in her fern.
No, we didn't have ferns. We had pecan trees, and we had great leaves, like from the grapevine. That's what you call it, grapevine. Anyway, we would put them in there, and then we had a clothesline. And so we'd get the clothespins and we'd dry them, and then we'd just do that all the time. And then we'd make mud pies and all that
I think
stuff.
Webb used to eat the mud pies.
Webb ate mud pies, yes. Webb also would eat out of the trash can.
Yeah.
He got popcorn out of the trash can one time. Where'd you get that popcorn? At the trash can. I'm like, oh my gosh, my child's eating out of the trash can.
I think he got a banana peel out of there too.
I don't know. But anyway, we would also play hide and seek, and we would climb like in the back. There was like this old barbecue pit made out of concrete blocks and stuff, and it had a top, and well, we could get just high enough that we could pull ourselves up onto one of the little storage houses, and it was open, and that's where our washer and dryer was. No, our dryer. Our washing machine was in the kitchen between the refrigerator and the stove.
Okay.
And you could tell when it got off of balance. It'd be
Shake the whole house.
well, it would. I mean, it was like, and you run in there and go fix it. But if you wanted to go get clothes to dry, or I don't care how cold it was, flooding or whatever, if you didn't get them out the night before, you had to walk all the way across the yard. I mean, a long way across the yard to the storage house to get your clothes out of the dryer. And if they weren't dried, then you just wore wet clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cold. So, but we still would forget and have to go out the next morning and freeze our tail off to go get the clothes. But, you just get used to it. But anyway, it had the dryer in it. I don't remember what else. And then the next one was a storage house. And then there was another one that was also another storage house, and I think it had freezers and stuff in it. I think the middle one has stuff, but I was never allowed in there. It always had a lock on it. I just thought about that. It always had a lock on it. Anyway, we would climb up on top of the storage houses.
Not suspicious at all.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Squirrel!
Don't be suspicious.
But we had the 3 storage houses, and there were different levels. So we would climb up there and hide, and we would lay down flat so nobody could see us. And then we would try to ease our way off or slide down the back of the taller one and then drop down. So
nobody would notice anything.
So nobody would notice anything. We didn't worry about breaking legs and all that stuff.
You don't think about that.
We were just playing. And then we'd also climb up under we had a trailer right here, and then my grandmother's house was right here. Like, you could crawl out of our trailer into my grandmother's house if you wanted to. But hers was raised off the ground a little bit, and we would climb under one end of her house, and then we would go out the other end, and I mean, we could just barely squeeze, like our backs would scrub against the back, the underside of the house. And then while we were under there, we would find a bunch of roly-polies and stuff, or the little dirt daubers that you could make a little swirl, and they just swirl down in. And sometimes we just forget they were looking for us and just sit there and play with bugs. But anyway, we did that. I had a bicycle. Oh, my grandmother Hancock, the one that lived next to us, she taught me how to drink coffee.
No, she taught her how to drink sugar. She taught you how to drink
She taught me to
sugar.
drink coffee.
She taught you how to get the diabetes.
It was white and sweet. But she
That's
would.
an understatement. That's why she's sitting there meowing at it, because she knows how much milk is in there.
This is our other guest, Midnight. She loves milk. If Bailey was able, she would drink up here. She would jump up here and drink my coffee. She'd drink up here and jump in my coffee. She would jump up here.
She would jump in your coffee? Jump me at my coffee?
She would drink my coffee. She likes coffee and bread. She likes milk. Anyway, she taught me to drink it, but she had these little cups, like a little coffee cup, and it had the coolest little saucers. It's not like a teacup saucer. It had higher sides.
Like you see on something like Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah. And then we would pour it into, she taught me to drink it with
Sweet
evaporated
Oh,
milk.
that's what it is, evaporated.
Sugar and evaporated milk. Oh my gosh. And
Again, she taught you how to get the
it was
diabetes.
percolated coffee. She didn't have a coffee pot. It was percolated coffee.
Percolated coffee is very good.
But then she'd mix it up in the coffee cup. Oh my gosh, I can just remember it. And then I'd pour it into that saucer and let it cool. Oh, we'd sit around her table and drink it. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And she taught me how to make pound cakes. So
Those are some good pound cakes.
And in that she taught me how to clarify butter, because to make her pound cake, you have to clarify your butter. You have to cook your butter and cook all the water out. And if you do it wrong, like if you even stir it,
It's
it burns.
easy to, I was gonna say, easy to burn.
Okay, there's 2 off my list. We use that. Watching cartoons on Saturday mornings. I used to love to watch cartoons on Saturday mornings. I guess because everybody was out kind of doing stuff, and I could just sit there and watch cartoons and be by myself. And especially in the summertime, that small trailer and that air conditioner, oh, it felt so good. Okay, let me see. Oh, staying with my grandparents, like my grandmother and granddaddy's story. They lived out in the country, and Granddaddy's story would always, grandmother and granddaddy, they had like fresh, like field peas.
This was your mama's mama.
Mom and daddy.
Okay.
Yeah. So when mom and daddy were, and Trent and Quint were working in tobacco, I was so young, I would go stay with grandmother and granddaddy's story. And granddaddy's story farmed. So I would get to help feed the baby calves with the bottles and help mix that up and go with granddaddy. And I was rotten when I was with granddaddy. I was rotten. He made, when they did fresh field peas with the snaps.
Didn't he save the snaps for you?
When we would all sit down at the table, he would make everybody give me their snaps because I loved the snaps from field peas. So he would make everybody, y'all give her your snaps now. Y'all give her your snaps. Y'all know she likes, give her your snaps, because I sat, then we didn't have boosters and stuff. I sat on a big pot.
That's what you did with us. You would get us your pots you have, and we would. I remember getting them out from underneath that cabinet, and we would every night get our certain pots out. And heaven forbid, if one of us got each other's pots, that's when Webb would start biting.
You got my pot. That's mine.
Yep. So
Heaven forbid me get, because there's two that's very similar in size, and the older we got, the smaller the pot got. But when we were little,
hello, Midnight.
Hello.
when we were little, we would get the bigger pots. Well, eventually it got to where we had to get the ones with the one you would use to boil tea or something.
Uh-huh.
Heaven forbid if you got Webb's, because his was the skinnier handle. Don't touch his poor pot now. he'd get mad about that pot. I mean, because he wasn't sitting high enough.
Oh gosh.
I remember that.
Yep. Yep, I loved it too when y'all got to sit on pots because it reminded me of sitting on the pot next to Granddaddy, and I always had a seat right next to him. He sat at the end of the table, and mine was against the window right next to him, and nobody got my seat. I made sure, and he made sure nobody got my seat, and I always got all the snaps from the peas. Granddaddy would get the cows a salt lick. If you don't know what a salt lick is,
Wait,
it is like a...
You lick the salt lick?
We all did. Granddaddy would put out these huge blocks.
Did you lick it while they were licking it?
I don't remember licking it.
Y'all make fun of me about my stuff.
While the cows licked it, but now I'm not going to say we didn't either.
I don't want to hear anything.
But we would like manage to get big chunks of the salt off and eat it. I know. We would also chase the baby pigs because they would, at some point, they would separate out like the mama pigs, the baby pigs, and all that stuff. Well, we would go out there and chase the baby pigs and try to catch them, and then we'd get in like really big trouble for chasing the baby pigs and stuff. But then once they went inside or went somewhere or whatever,
you'd start again.
We'd go back to chasing the baby pigs.
There is something to an art of a kid waiting until whoever you're going to get in trouble by, you learn their pattern and you wait and you wait. And then whenever you know you're good, you just...
Yep, because there was some farm equipment under a shelter. And then we'd go climb on it, you know, especially if there wasn't any grain or anything in it. We'd climb on it and all that stuff and wait until they went back inside, give them a little bit to start doing something else, and we'd go back and, you know, the pigs aren't quiet. They're walking at Grandmother and Granddaddy's stories. Then I wasn't scared of snakes. And there was so many woods, and Granddaddy had like a trail, and there was like a clay pond back there, and I would just go walk, and I would pick blackberries. Grandmother would give me a little bucket, you know, some kind of little bucket with a handle, whatever she had, and I would go and pick blackberries and then we would, I'm like, oh gosh, this is pitiful, isn't it? I was telling Jill about it today. She's like, Mama, that's just pitiful. But I was like, I mean, just something as simple as raking leaves at Grandmother and Granddaddy.
But sometimes it is the small stuff. Sometimes it's the smaller stuff that makes the better memories. What the pitiful part of it was how hard it was to think of stuff that was good from your childhood. That was the pitiful part. Not the memories itself, but the thought it took.
Yes. Again, if you don't like
I would cut it off now if you don't because it's about to start going downhill. That's the only way to put it, because we're running out of things.
Oh, my friend Janice, we would go, get back to my granddaddy story. He had this red rubber ball that we would play ball. He would play ball with us. And so he would go stand out in he had all kinds of farmland, but it was right next to the house. He would go stand out there, and we had this little red ball. I could even tell you the exact drawer and where it was that he would play, where the ball stayed. And he would go play ball with us out in like his little grassy area. Come here, Miss Ma'am. Come on, this is midnight. Janice. Me and Janice have been friends since elementary school. I would go spend the night with her, and we would play hide and seek in her house in the dark. We had to play it in the dark because her mom and daddy were asleep, and she's got two brothers. Well, she's got two brothers and a sister, but the sister had already moved out. So the two brothers were still at home. And so we would all just turn very few lights on so we didn't break our neck. Anyway, we would play hide and seek in the dark, and that was so much fun. Because I was like a lot smaller then. I could fit behind stuff, and And anyway, I mean, we didn't have a lot of places to hide, but when it's dark, you can stand behind a door and you can't see anything. And then we would, when I could go off and go to town, Mark would drive us, her older brother. He would drive us around in his little blue hatchback Escort. And we would play, well, I guess I could drive. Maybe, I don't know if I could drive legally or not. That's the great thing about growing up in a small town.
I was just going to say, most folks down here, we drive before we're supposed to anyways.
Anyway, we'd play 1, 2, 3 red light. So that's what we called it. I don't know what you call it now.
Some people call it
Chinese red light. Anyway, you pull up to the red light, and whoever's driving runs around, gets in the back, and then whoever's in the passenger seat comes around and drives. And then everybody just kind of changed positions. And when you got to the next red light, everybody changed positions again, like you had a certain thing that you rotated. And then we'd also ride around with the hatchback open, some of us riding in the hatchback. And I remember one night the cops pulled up behind us, so we were just waving at them.
That's also a great thing.
They just blew the horn at us. And I remember one time Janice hates bugs. Like, she will tell you she hates. We're going to have Janice on here sometime too. We're going to interview Janice. But yes, she hates bugs. There was one time, there was a little spider in her bedroom. We stayed up half the night trying to find that spider because she would not go to sleep because there was a spider in her bedroom. So we had to stay up and find that daggum spider. Spend the night with Grandmother Hancock, the one that lived right next to us. Well, midnight, just knock it down, baby. Just knock it down. She had a feather bed, an old-fashioned feather bed and feather pillows. And when you would get up in the mornings, like, you had to take the bed and beat it to fluff it back out and flatten it back out. And when you would lay in it, like, you would just go whoosh,
that's nice.
Sink down in it. And she had those heavy, like, old comforters and stuff.
The ones that...
The patchwork.
It doesn't make you hot, but it makes you feel comfortable.
It has that weight. I wonder if that's where the idea of weighted blankets come from too, because, like, you could feel it, like, it would just weight you down. And then we would sit there every time I spent the night with her, which was very often. And she had a jewelry box. I so wanted that jewelry box. But she had a jewelry box, and we'd go through every piece of jewelry. And every time we'd go through every piece of jewelry, how she got it, when she got it. But I have a necklace and a bracelet that my granddaddy gave her. I don't know what it's made of. It's never turned, but it was one of the better pieces of jewelry he gave her. And she gave it to me. So I've got it back there in my jewelry box. But that's the good ones. That's the good sentimental, So I don't know really at the point how in depth I'll go. It just, first let me say, if you don't go to therapy, if you think you are a failure or less than or anything like that because you need therapy, it's okay to go to therapy. I wish I had gone sooner. Jill told me forever, she's like, Mama, you need therapy. And I'm like, no, I don't.
And it's not an offense. It's not meant in an offensive way. Usually if a loved one comes up to you and says you need therapy, there's no other way to say that than just you need therapy. It's not meant in a bad way. I say that for somebody that you know is loving and that cares about you. They're not trying to tell you something's wrong with you. They're trying to help you because they know you need something other than what you can give them.
Yeah. And Jill would tell me, I don't know how many times, Mom, you need therapy, like, you need some help. And I took it offensively, like, oh, what is wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. I have failed. I'm a failure. Oh my gosh. Now, therapy is the most amazing thing in this world when you have a good one, when you have a good therapist. She has just transformed me.
Because she thought her childhood was normal. And growing up, I remember asking her if she had a good childhood, and she would always say, "Oh yeah, I had a pretty good childhood, but the older I got, the more I found out, but also the more I figured out." We got to the point of where I would just say, "Mama, you didn't have a good childhood. You didn't have a normal childhood. Yours was what you went through and experienced wasn't normal." The what she had on that envelope, I mean, and I'm sure there's smaller memories here and there that are good, but that's pretty much the joyous parts of the childhood. Other than that, it was not a normal childhood.
Yeah. And now, don't get me wrong, I love my mama. Like, I wish I could see her, but in seeing her, I have to see my daddy. And that is not an option. He is not a good person. Um, he's he's a sick individual, and I don't mean health wise. I mean mentally. He's pretty wicked. He's pretty wicked. Right now, I'll just say, let your mind go to the deepest, darkest place it could go between a father and daughter, and you'll wind up with my story. And he was, there was him, but then there was also three others outside the home. And it wasn't just me um, that he
Messed with.
messed with. Yeah, I was like,
How you
well, how do you say this? Like, you know, and don't get me wrong, I truly believe that all of that happened. Well, I know it did. It's just separating, it's still
It's
coming
hard
to
to
terms.
realize that you're the
It
one that
is your
went through
dad.
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you? At what point did you notice things were not normal? Do you ever remember sitting there going, "Well, this isn't normal"?
No.
Did it ever click when you saw, like, say, if you went to Miss Janice's house and you saw how they were all interacting? Did it ever click when you got home? Well, this isn't a normal dynamic.
Never. I would just look at it as, well, when things clicked for me a couple of years ago, I realized the main memories I have are away from home.
Mm-hmm.
Like going to Debbie's house when she would cut mine and Mama's hair. It was just, that was the only time me and Mama got to do anything together, was when we go to Debbie's. And I can tell you, I could sit and draw you a picture of Debbie's beauty salon that was at her house. I can tell you the colors. I can tell you where her door was.
You can probably remember the smell too.
Yep, I can. And she would always, when I would go with Mama to get her hair done, Debbie would always like brush my hair and braid my hair for me for free.
Aww.
Because, I mean, you know, we couldn't afford to
Yeah.
have it done or anything. And I was forbidden to cut my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever. Even in high school. He flipped when I got my ears pierced. And yes, he's still alive. And I have finally gotten to the point that I can pray for him. I pray that he will one day come to know Jesus, because the thought of your dad going to hell is so unsettling, because
It's forever. It's not
forever, and it's your dad. And when you've grown up for 50 years thinking, even though you don't think of him in the best light. You know, for 50 years, you think, well, he provided, you know, he fed me, he clothed me. You know,
once you go to therapy, you figure out just because somebody put a roof over your, I mean, you think about it, if somebody kidnaps somebody, they're putting a roof over that person's head most of the time. You have, you know, Stockholm syndrome, where they hold their captor and their captor they start feeling these feelings for their captor, and they're putting a roof over their head, but it doesn't make them.
Yeah. And I think that's where I'm at now. I'm still at the point of mentally telling myself that I know that's who he really is, but for 50 years, my brain tried to remind me and tell me that that's who he was, but I pushed it away all those years.
You disassociated.
Yeah.
You knew what a daddy was supposed to do from other people, like your grandparents, and you saw how they were, but it wasn't that way at home.
Yeah. Well, I tell people it's like, you know, all the A&E documentaries I used to watch. And I think me and you even had this conversation one time, you know, that, well, you know, my childhood wasn't perfect. It wasn't the greatest, but at least it wasn't like these A&E documentaries that you see where these kids don't realize their parents are like serial rapist or serial killer or something like that till the FBI shows up at their house. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you know, this is my life. Well, that's pretty much how it was for me. It was a realization that hit me Mother's Day one year at my mother-in-law's house, sitting at her table. The light bulb clicked on. My sister-in-law looked at me. She was like, Tana, you don't think that, and it was like she was telling me, I was like, I don't know, I just get these EBGB feelings that's not normal. And she's like, well, do you think? And it was like in an instant, all the pieces connected. Everything finally made sense. And it's like, oh my gosh.
And unfortunately, with trauma, people can say those things to you over and over and try to tell you things of what happened, but until your brain connects it, somebody can tell you that over and over and over and over, but until you actually realize it, the light bulb doesn't click, the dots don't connect.
Well, and two, I think God shielded me mentally from connecting that until I was at a point to where I could handle it. Because I think if I'd have connected the dots way earlier, I don't think I'd have been strong enough as a Christian or in any way. I think I would have just snapped. And
you'd ended up on Snapped.
I would have ended up on Snapped. And we joke, but I would have ended up on Snapped. It's when you live through something like that, it alters who you are.
Well, and yours wasn't, like you said, yours wasn't just one person. Yours all encompassed was more than 3 people. Yeah. And so
mine was
and then
4 or 5.
You get into survival mode, but you don't realize you're in survival mode.
Yeah. But once I finally connected the dots, I finally started understanding me, because I was always led to believe that I was always the problem.
You were made to think you were the reason, that what was happening was your fault, or what had happened was your fault.
Anything that ever happened, and Jill can even tell you, anytime anything ever went wrong, I would say, it's my fault, just blame it on me, it's my fault. And then she would fuss at me. She would say, Mama, quit thinking everything is your fault. But I really felt like everything was my fault. It's my fault, it's me. It's me. There's something wrong with me. Like everything around me falls apart. It's me. And that's why I say,
And then when you wind up thinking that, in turn, you wind up making things worse on yourself and for the situation, because the other person may be trying to help you or talk you through it, or help you figure out what's going on, but you're on the defense thinking what you just said.
well, you get to the point you think you're worthless, you're useless, like everything. And then you get to the point of thinking the world's better off without you.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, if you ever get to that point, let me just tell you, it's not going to be better off without you. I struggled with that many times, and now I know why I struggled with that. And it's get help. It's okay to get help, I promise. You're not a failure. You're not less than. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not damaged, defective, none of that. There's a reason why you're feeling that way. Find you a really, really good therapist. And if you also need, I am on 2 medications to help with anxiety and depression. I have topped out on more than I can count.
And sometimes some just stop working and you have to switch it up.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes you need stronger than what the other ones can do, and it's okay.
It's great to try the natural ways. It's great to even use that as supplements, but sometimes that just ain't enough.
Yeah, don't sit there and struggle.
Nothing's wrong with you because the natural ways aren't working.
No.
You're working, and you may eventually be able to work off of whatever, but you just probably have gone through a certain amount of stuff, and your brain can't process it, and you need something to help you work through whatever you're going through.
Yeah, and it's no different than taking blood pressure medicine, thyroid medicine. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain, and your body is just, especially if you have been through some sort of trauma. A lot of the physical struggles my body is having now is due to trauma. Like my body's just, it's tired, it's wore out. I repressed so much for so long, and I have been in survival mode all of my life, and so it's struggling. Like it's tired. And so now that now that I've done therapy and I'm still in therapy, I was having to go every week, and sometimes I needed to go a couple of times a week because it was rough. I am finally at a place in my life. I like who I am. I love me. I love who God is creating me to be.
It's almost like starting over,
yeah,
as if you were a kid, but as an adult. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah,
you're starting to realize life can be enjoyable. Life can be fun. It's not about what other people have done to affect you. Doesn't need or have to make you who you are.
Yes. And realize that your past does not define what your future is. Like it does not define who you are. What Satan meant for evil, God can use for good. I can't tell you the number of people God has used me. God has used me to minister to that have been through the same situations. You would be amazed at the people surrounding you that you are so close to that have been through the exact same things. And some that watch this are going to be absolutely just floored. They have no clue. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I love my mama. I wish I could see my mama, but I can't because she's been with him for over 50 years.
She's not herself. She's been brainwashed so much to where the person we know or knew isn't there anymore.
No.
she's gone. She's been gone for a long time because any part of her that would want to defend her child, when that kicks in, the controlled part by him takes over.
Yeah. She's scared of him. Like, some ask, if I could go back and undo it and have a different childhood, would I? No. This has, even though there's been a rocky road getting here, I mean, really bad road getting here, lots of ups, downs, lots of hurt, caused to me, by me, it has made me who I am. And I like who I am. And I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for all the things that I have lived through. And like I said, I like who I am. I like me. And I never thought I would hear myself utter those words. I like who I am. I'm completely different than I was, a year ago? 2 years ago?
Even 6 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's just constantly
honestly,
changing.
the past 6 months has been the most change I can see, as far as you're comfortable. And when I say comfortable, I don't mean it as like you're not still trying to work on yourself, but you're okay with who you are now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's taken a lot of therapy. I've been therapized a lot. I've told my therapist she's probably going to be able to retire on me.
She'll probably retire off of you.
She probably going to be able to retire off of me. No. But me and Jill's even going to therapy. Like, and I've told them all, like, at some point, we're all going to go to therapy. Because
that's not an easy feat if you, as a parent and a child, to work through things that are uncomfortable to talk about, that's not an easy feat.
It's scary.
Like, because you're worried you're going to say something to tick off the other person, but that's what you're not there to tick each other off, but you're there to work through the things that would tick each other off.
Yeah, and going into it, you're scared of saying that, because you're like, well, if I say it when they leave, are they going to start thinking about it and get really mad at me? And but that's when a good therapist, that's when you rely on a really good therapist, because they make sure all of that is handled, everything is cool before you walk out that door. And then you get homework, as far as, when y'all come back, I want y'all to be thinking about this, or I want you to write this. And then when you come back, you work through those things next. And so, but I told all my crew, I was like, listen, generational curses end here. Like, this one right here, if she had not heeded God's urging to call me probably over a year ago, I wouldn't have been sitting here with her talking. But she heeded God's urging to call me, or somebody got a hold of her, and so I don't even remember her calling. Mentally, I had checked out. So if you're struggling, talk to somebody. Call somebody and say, listen, I need to talk to you. I'm struggling. If you're worried about somebody, if they're struggling, call them. Go check on them. So I had several to check on me and call me because they were worried about me, and they had very good reason to be worried about me. And believe me, you will miss so much. I look now and I am so thankful. Like, after that when I kind of got myself back together, I would look at True and my grandkids, and I would think, oh my gosh, look at what I would have missed. Look at what they would have missed if I wasn't here to pour into them, to love on them. So just know you would be missed. You are important.
So the other night when we recorded the first half, my phone died, but we were very in depth into the conversation. Didn't realize it until 2 hours into the podcast. Mm-hmm. So we got about an hour and a half recorded, And then we were about 30 minutes in a while ago, and I could have been done almost. And Mama happened to look down and notice the microphones weren't on. And I can't transfer the audio if the microphone is not on. I'm so bright.
I wouldn't know how to do it either way. So if it wasn't for her, I'd just be sitting there with a camera talking to it, and then it'd be what it is. Because I don't like, me and electronics are not friends.
And once we decided that we were gonna retry again tonight, I had already taken a shower and changed, and I wasn't changing back. So it is what it is.
Is this the one you have on in the picture?
Uh-huh. The girls call it my night dress with paw prints. They said Scoot put his paw prints on here.
Oh, that's so sweet.
They love when I get my night dress. Ashton always comes out and says, "You got your night dress on."
Oh.
So I told Brandon, I said, we need to get the girls some night dresses.
Yes. With little paw prints. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We carpooled with somebody in K4, but if you didn't pick me up, then Nima picked me up or Aunt Margie picked me up. And Nima would take us home, and she would make the Kraft macaroni and cheese, which I still can never get to taste like she made it. And we would watch Scooby-Doo in our designated kitchen, designated living room, trays and tables. But then you eventually got that table that had the big table, the small table, and the littlest table, and our little red rocking chairs. And we'd sit there and we watched that, and then I'd play Candyland with Nima. And I need to look and see if that Candyland is still over there, because that Candyland has been played and played.
She always kept it in the
above the TV. She had that. She had Jenga. She taught me how to play goldfish, but
goldfish.
Goldfish. Goldfish. I don't even like goldfish that much. Worth that, anyways. But I thought about this too. So when we'd go outside and we'd ride the golf cart or whatever we would be on, we'd usually be too far off for Nima to holler for us, or we couldn't hear. So she got to where she'd honk the horn on the Expedition.
That's right.
Beep, beep. We knew that was our sign to come.
Get your butt back to the house.
Yep, and either you were there or she'd always make sure we had, if we went off somewhere. Her thing also too was you always take a wet rag wherever you go. You get a Ziploc bag and you put a wet rag in there. You never know when you're gonna need a wet rag.
You took water. You took snacks.
There is a reason when we go, like especially this time of year, with and that's another reason. Normally we could do this during the day and to be easier, but I'm still in Peanuts, and so only time I have right now is at night. But the truck looks like hoarders by the time we get out, because there's food everywhere. But she taught us to always take extra, and you like you said, it's better to have too much than not enough.
Oh yeah, with Nima, you always had too much instead of not enough, because it was a cardinal sin if she thought anybody was hungry.
Yes,
that's why I have to feed everything. Nima. That's why I have to feed all the animals that come up. It was Nima.
She it didn't matter if she knew you, didn't know you, whatever. If you came to her house, you were gonna leave with your belly full, or you were gonna leave with a honey bun, pecan swirl, bag of chips, something. You were gonna leave with food.
True said, every time now I fix True bagel bites, I say, I miss Nima. She always had me bagel bites.
Yes. She always had honey buns, pecan swirls, crackers. What
an array of crackers.
Yes.
Cereals.
Jello, cereal, SpaghettiOs. I would eat, that's what it was. I would eat the macaroni. Webb would eat the macaroni, but I would eat most of the macaroni, and Webb would eat SpaghettiOs. He would eat the SpaghettiOs and tomatoes. He'd always eat tomatoes.
That child would eat tomatoes. Oh my gosh, it's probably why he don't eat them much now.
Probably not. He would, oh my gosh. But she'd pick us up from school, and if we went somewhere, she knew our food time clock. And she would get in a hurry all of a sudden to get out the door, and it's because she knew that food time clock was about to hit. She had it just right, too.
She'd always tell me, every 2 hours, they got to eat.
Every 2 hours. And even if we weren't hungry, when that time clock came, especially if we were fixing to go back to the house, she'd go through the drive-thru. Her thing would be, you may not eat it now, but you eat it later. And I think that's my problem now. Why in town I feel like I have to get food is because for 20 years it was, or I mean, even after I got married and we went anywhere, she would still do the same thing. She would make us go through the drive-thru, and even though we didn't let her drive, we drove, and we would go through the drive-thru, and if we went off somewhere, we were heading home, we got food. But she did that, and then when Aunt Margie would pick us up, she would take us back home, and we would make homemade Play-Doh. And I forgot, we could only do a certain amount of colors each because she didn't want me and Webb fighting over colors. So we would, if I did one, Webb couldn't do that color.
Yep.
And we would have a certain amount of colors. And I forgot to, I would play with her little, Aunt Margie loved to sew. And she made all of our baby blankets.
She was so talented.
Gus has a baby blanket from her, but the girls, I think she was already too sick by the time the girls came along.
I think so.
So they don't have one, but Gus has one. And her little tomato, the little pin cushion tomato, I'd always sit there and play with it. And she would let me play with it after we got done eating lunch, because we'd sit in the living room in front of their massive TV that they had, and beside the fish tank that I don't ever remember fish being in. But she'd put a blanket down, even have a little picnic basket. We'd have hot dogs, and she'd get the ketchup and mustard. We'd have a little picnic, and then we'd go outside before it got dark, and Webb would pick up golf balls, and he'd put it in the bucket. And we'd get that done. We'd go back in, and I would play with her pin cushion. Oh, I forgot. They had they had a computer in the corner. You remember?
Yeah.
You remember paint on the old computers? Yeah. I'd sit over there, and I'd do paint for a little bit. This was before Webb liked electronics, I think. He would do it some, but I would do the paint on there, and then you'd come pick us up, and we'd go home or whatever. But I forgot about that computer. It was a white one.
Remember going trick-or-treating to their house? And
so our thing, I know a lot of people don't do Halloween, which, to each his own conviction, but our version of Halloween was always, we never got to dress up as anything scary. We never got to be witches, ghosts, vampires, anything like that. It always had to be, we did, I think one year I was a nurse, and Cleopatra, and
an Indian.
Indian
one year.
Tinkerbell.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Stuff like that. Anyways.
I remember the one year Webb was the giraffe. It had the giraffe thing sticking up over his head. You remember that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he was.
Was that too little?
No. Y'all were older.
He was a giraffe?
He was a giraffe.
I don't remember the giraffe.
I mean, y'all were young, but I mean, he was up walking and stuff. So
I don't remember the giraffe.
Yeah, he was a giraffe.
I don't remember
because
that.
I remember he kept getting irritated because the giraffe would just keep, like, these giraffe heads just kind of do this stuff, and then they fall back, or they get, it goes under your chin, and then it falls back here, and it's sitting here like
You picked the
this.
wrong child to put that on.
And, it would keep falling back.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But we would dress up, and then we would go to the family member's house. We would go to we'd go to Aunt Margie's, Uncle Hollis's, Aunt Barbara's, Uncle Wallace's, Mom and Pa, Aunt Bo and Uncle Gene.
And sometimes Aunt Bo would dress up.
She would. She was a
Red Hatter.
Red Hatter, and there were many years she would dress up. I remember her more dressed up on Halloween than I don't.
And then Jill, for a long time, she couldn't have sugar. So I would, to begin with, I would go to all of their houses and drop off candy and, different little treats to put in there. Because, and I would call them and say, hey, is it okay if we come trick-or-treating?
I remember you calling them and saying, hey, I'll bring by the candy later. Or what? I remember that. Or I remember Aunt Barbara calling and saying, hey, I need to get candy. No, I went ahead and got the candy.
And I would go drop it off, go to all their houses. And first I'd call them and say, hey, the kids want to go trick-or-treating. I don't know where to go trick-or-treating, and I don't trust people. So can I bring y'all something to give to the kids? And we just come by and then trick-or-treat at y'all's house.
Mm-hmm.
So to begin with, I would take it to them. Then after that, they were like, oh, no, we'll get it. They loved getting it for them and little treats and stuff. And
I love that. That is one of my favorite memories.
And then usually Nemo would go with us. We would go to Nemo and Pa's trick or treat first. Then Nemo would get in the vehicle, and we usually hit.
We would hit Aunt Bo and Uncle Gene's first, wouldn't we? Or will we hit that on the way back?
I think we would hit Aunt Margie and Uncle Hollis.
Okay.
And then Aunt Bo, and then Uncle Wallace and Aunt Barbara. But just going to 4 houses, we were gone for hours.
It would be well past dark when we got home.
Oh, yeah.
It
was
well
late
past dark.
Because we wouldn't just go in and say, oh, trick or treat. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good. No.
The first time I did that, I did it at Aunt Margie's. And I don't know if Nima had never heard that or if she doesn't remember hearing that, but she begged me not to do that because of the I'll pull down your underwear part. And then when I did it, I remember Nima was one of those that when you would say something, she do that. Well, I did it, and I just remember her going, "You did it!" Or I'm sorry, Jill, you did it. And she was mortified, bless her heart. And but yeah, and I would love to do that with the kids, but it's a lot of work getting 3 youngins ready. It's a lot of work getting 3 youngins ready and getting. I know.
Yeah, and you can do it when they're older, like a little older, and because you're never too old. To me, you're never too old to trick or treat.
Well, I remember being like the earliest one I remember is when I was Cleopatra. I was still in the Jones building when I was Cleopatra, and I may have been in kindergarten, because I think I remember standing in front of the blue chair at the house and you making us take pictures. I don't know if Webb had started school yet.
Yeah.
When I was that. But yeah, but Mom and Dad built this house when I was 14, so we moved here, and Nemo and Crop, golly, I'm on it tonight. Nemo and Pa live across the field, and then you had Miss Ann, and Daddy's known them, and they've all been friends since long time. And so once we moved here, I couldn't drive yet, so I'd get on the 4-wheel. I'd get my school done in the morning, and I'd get up, and I'd go ride in the woods for hours and hours and hours. That was just that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything crazy, and at some point I'd migrate to Nema's, and usually So at that point, I had a phone, and she usually called me around lunchtime because she knew I was usually riding, and she'd say, "You eat yet?" So I'd start making my way, but she knew Miss Ann would stop me, and that I would stop Miss Ann, and we would talk. So she'd call me early. She'd call me by 10 o'clock and say, "Hey, this is what I'm fixing for lunch, and I'll have lunch ready, and just letting you know." So she gave me a heads up, so that way me and Miss Ann could have our talk time, and then I could migrate that way. And that's who Mabry's named after, is Miss Ann. But I would go through her yard, and either she would be out and I'd see her, she'd see me, and we'd talk for hours and hours and hours. Or if I didn't see her, especially if like a day or two went by and I didn't see her, I'd go knock on her door, and then I'd wind up inside and talking to her, because I'd get worried. I'd be like, "Oh dear, I ain't seen her in 2 days." So we would talk for hours and hours, and then I'd get back on the four-wheeler, and I'd go right back in the woods and start riding after I spent some time at Nema's and ate and hung out for a little bit, and migrate back this way close to dark. But dark never bothered me. I'd ride in them woods by myself at night. Daddy doesn't get worried about much, but I remember you texting me or calling me and saying, "Hey, your daddy wants you to start checking in because he's worried something's happened."
Or Alan would say, "Jill home yet? She probably needs to come on home." But he wouldn't call you and say, "Hey, come home." He'd tell me.
He'd never
"Hey,
call me.
she probably needs to come on home."
And
So, yeah, they told me growing up, they said, "Yeah, Daddy's the fun one. You're the mean one."
if Daddy ever had to take us to work, golly,
To school.
thank you, to school, he'd get us up at the crack of dawn. And
Oh, no. Let me clarify. I always almost had to threaten them to get them out of bed. And we were always late. It's like, "Hurry, run. Okay, y'all got your stuff ready?" I mean, we'd be flying to the school.
she'd hit a certain point in that road where she would know, like she could see if there was a cop, and she'd hit that point and she'd gun it.
And I'd be like, "Okay, got your backpack ready? Got everything done?" We'd pull into the school parking lot, getting ready to drop them out. I'm like, "Okay, unbuckle. All right, get out, run to the door." And then walk really, really fast. Go. And then I'd go to the next one. Go, "Okay, red flag." I hated that red flag. I detest. I wanted to burn that thing.
I remember you pulling up going, "Red flag ain't out yet. Red flag ain't
Red
out yet."
flag ain't out yet.
So context, red flag. If the bell had already rung, they would put the red flag out at
and
the
you were
end.
late, and you'd have to go get a tardy slip.
That's how you would know.
And
if
you know,
were
it's
late.
amazing at how many people would go sign in flat tire. You'd see 20 flat tires in one morning. You know they ain't been 20 flat tires that morning. And you know they knew they ain't been 20 flat tires that morning. I would just look at them and say, "Y'all, we just late. I'm just going to tell you the truth. We just late." But, no. Their daddy would get them up. Say if I had a doctor's appointment early, or, you know, if I had a surgery or something, and he had to take them to school, he would get them up. Guess what? They would pop right up. He would have to drive slow.
The sun would be still coming up. I remember vividly, like it was colder. And, you know, during the winter down here, it's like foggy and dreary in the morning. Well, I remember driving past the gas station. I had never seen gas station lights on in the morning, like, you know, from above the pumps. And I was still too little to really understand time. But I just remember thinking, we could have gone back to bed. This is way too early.
Oh, yeah. When their daddy would get them up, they would pop right up, get dressed, and they'd get going, and they would leave so early. He would have to drive super duper slow.
He'd take the long way.
He would sometimes get there too early before they could even go into the school. He would sometimes beat teachers there. Well, they would do that for me. I was like, "Okay, I don't understand this. Why do y'all get up, pop right up for your daddy, and me, I have to threaten y'all?" "Well, Daddy hardly ever texts us."
It's different. But speaking of that, Webb's eardrum had busted one night. She had to take him to the ER, and they were there all night. When it was time for go to school the next day, y'all were still there. And so Daddy got me up, and he tried to put my hair, like brush my hair, put it up in pigtail, or just put it up. And when he brushes hair, like, you know, has he ever really brushed his hair?
I think he's always just used a comb, but he would start like here with yours and go.
Yes, he would go, and then he wouldn't pick up the brush. He would just go straight back up and rub, and then come right back down. So what it does is it creates a big old wad and glob. And so every glob, he would put a ponytail around, and then that'd be one ponytail, and then this side had one ponytail. I had 4 ponytails. And he would, I bless his heart. He tried so hard. And he was so proud of himself when he got done, because, you know, he goes, okay, all right, yep, let's go. And
hey, it's a good thing that, you know, we didn't have all this technology then, because he would have seen how some of them do the vacuum cleaner
and pull it out. But mine wouldn't have turned out like that.
You went to school with part of the vacuum still stuck in your head.
I'd had the extension on top
Yeah, you'd
of
have
my head.
the little hose part, the little end piece like stuck. And kind of like, oh, I couldn't get it out.
One of my teachers probably would have had to get it out, because Daddy knew, like, Daddy grew up with most of my teachers and knew them, so he'd have been perfectly comfortable with going in and saying, hey, I don't know how
I got the vacuum cleaner stuck in her hair. They'd be like, it'd be all right. No, his thing would be, oops.
Yes, oops. And I'd have had to ride on, you know, it was so bad when in that silver truck, it was an extended cab, so the back seat was smaller. My hair was hitting the window because it was stuck so everywhere. If I'd had that thing on my head, you could have just, you know, heard it. But, yeah, bless his heart, he tried. I don't think he ever put my hair up again after, but once I got to school, I pulled those things out, and I probably pulled half my hair out with it, but bless his heart, he tried. He tried so hard. But yeah, once we moved here, I stayed in the woods a lot, but then, well, I started riding when we were at the old house, didn't I? Yeah, yes, because I had a picture of me and Bella on the outside of my door.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if I wasn't riding in the woods out here, just on the 4-wheeler, I fell in love with barrel racing and just riding in general. So which they became the relationship bloomed into more than just instructor or teacher and rider, into wonderful friends and great people.
She's a bestie.
She's
is phenomenal.
We love our
Stephanie.
We love our Miss Stephanie
and her kiddos.
Yes, and so if it wasn't that, then I was doing that. Other than that, I never had a desire to party or go out, or I was perfectly fine by myself. I was perfectly fine with just staying by myself.
And she was that way when she was little. Like, I could sit her in the floor and like she would just stay there. Like, she would play. She was even content in her little baby swing, and it would get to going. And so I'd put on like a little movie or a cartoon or something when I needed to clean or whatever, or cook, and she would get to swinging far enough that she could grab a hold of the front bar, and she'd hang on to it and she'd let go. She thought that was the best thing ever. And she'd swing and she'd grab on and she'd get so tickled and she'd let go. She would entertain herself like that forever. I mean, she was, and you could sit her in the floor with some toys. Come back in a little while, she's still right there playing with those little toys. And now Webb, he was supposed to be inside playing when I was cleaning several times. And he wound up ringing our front doorbell. He's the reason why we had to have locks on the very, very top of our door that he couldn't reach even if he got in a chair, so that he
We
couldn't
would have
get
to,
out.
when we go out in the mornings, I'd have to, because they put it high enough where he couldn't get it in the chair, but I could reach it in the chair. So I'd have to get up and unlock. If it wasn't winter, because if it was winter, you'd go out and crank it up in the morning before we'd go. But during the summer, I'd have to get up and do it usually, because we'd go out, load up.
And in their defense, I have to say this. I don't know why I did it. I don't know. I just like for everybody to be all snuggly and warm. But I would take their blankets that Aunt Margie made them,
Oh, I forgot about this.
put them in the dryer, and snuggle them up with the TV going. And in these warm blankets.
Before we would
Before
get out of
they
bed.
would get up, before they would get ready and all that stuff. And I'm like, Donna, you dodo. Like,
But it was so nice and warm. It started off our morning so good, though. I mean, we wound up dragging out the door, but it started off our morning so much better, because we knew we were fixing to, not many kids just love school. And
yeah.
so it was nice to have that in the morning.
Oh, that was something they always loved. They loved being wrapped in warm blankets. And so, and I don't know, that's just something I can't stand. This one right here. Let me tell you about this one right here. I cannot stand for anybody to be hungry, or an animal to be hungry or cold. They'll pull their arms out of the cover, and I would go in there and cover those arms up just as sure as I did. She went. I'd cover that arm up.
I don't like sleeping with my arms under covers.
And I would feel of it, and their arm would be cold, and I'm like, and then I tuck it in. And then before you know it, I'm like, and I do the same thing with True. I feel that arm and it's cold, and I'm like, and I mean, before I even get it covered good, and I'm like, I'll tell him, I'm like, sleep in a long sleeve tonight. I don't want a long sleep in a long sleeve.
But I also sleptwalked. So
Oh yeah.
that was, but I don't think I really, if I've done it anymore, I haven't heard, or I have since I've been married, but I haven't done it in the past few years, or at least since we've been in this new house that I know of. Back into kind of what she was saying, I didn't have near as traumatic experiences as she did, but her father did start trying to groom me, but not that God couldn't have intervened with you, because he could have. And again, there's, like you talked about, there's purpose in the bad. But I remember whenever, so he always had this thing where he would have a like a favorite grandchild out of each family. And when I was little, it was me. But I remember we were all going to bed. So Webb would sleep with grandmother. I would sleep with granddad. I don't know why. I don't know how it started off like that. But he would always take his house coat off, and then he would just be in his underwear. And it's not that you knew that either, because
He always wanted long pajamas.
He always
wore long pajamas.
The room with long pajamas, and then at some point he would take them off, put his house coat back on, and then he would be just in his underwear. And I remember telling him that I asked him, I said, can you put at least your pants back on? And he was like, no, I'm not going to sleep with my pants on. And he would say, I think he eventually which makes no sense. He eventually wound up sleeping in his house coat, but he wouldn't put his pants back on.
It's the concept.
It's
the concept of him knowing he was in his underwear. Like,
yes. And I didn't think about that till now. That just, but as a kid, it doesn't make, you don't think of that, and you don't know what's going on anyways. But after that, and I told him, I said, if you don't put your pants back on, then I'm going to go sleep with grandmother, because I think it was one of the weekends that we would stay with, like y'all had gone like y'all dropped us off, or we met at Cracker Barrel or something, and then we had stayed up
Well,
there.
and too, like every summer, y'all would go stay with them for like a week or something like
Yeah.
that. Mind you, I had no
No,
clue any of this was going on. Like,
This all didn't come.
I didn't know about it until she got married.
Yeah, I didn't say anything till after we got married because I got
Which is probably good.
I got married when I got engaged when I was 17, got married when I was 18. So I was technically, like, I was still coming out of all of that, but I never, it's not that I didn't know these things happen, but when it's happening to you, you don't, until a certain point, it doesn't register in your brain like, oh, that's happening to that person. Well, that's bad. But when it's happening to you, you don't, it's, I don't know.
They groom you. That's
Yes.
part of grooming.
And
The part of grooming. It's because he'd already done it.
Yeah.
So, and once they learn what to, in my research and in my studying, once they hang on, we entered into this. I entered into this not half-heartedly. Like, I have sat on my story for a very, very long time. And contemplated and debated and prayed. And I finally told Jill the other night, she said, "No, Mama," she said, "if you don't want to share your story, or if you just want to keep it as your story and never share it, that is totally up to you." I'm like, "No, Jill, I can't. This is something that I know God wants me to do, because if it just helps one person to realize that it's okay to get help. It's okay to, you did not ask for these things to be done to you. And what was meant for evil, God can use for good. It doesn't define who you are. Like Jill said,
you don't just because the quote of you are who you are because of all these things that has happened to you. I don't believe that. I believe that you are who you are in spite of those things.
And I love that.
You're not, because that would be letting evil build who you are. But we're, as believers and as a child of God, when you see how, because after you realize all these things happen, you have questions as far as, why did this happen to me? How can this happen to me? And your brain, you go through the motions, but if you focus on, okay, what good can come out of this? Maybe I can relate to somebody or help them understand it's not anything you did. It's not anything that you presented yourself as. There is just evil in this world. Unfortunately, we live in a fallen world, and there's evil in this world, and sometimes without us any cause of our own, we're a victim of it. But we can come out of it on the better side and go, you know what, devil, you may have tried to break me down, but I can rise above this, and I am going to rise above this, and I can use this to help someone else, and to show that even though all this bad happened to me, even though I saw all of that evil, God always wins. He wins in the end anyways, but he always comes through for his children, and he's always there. He never left, but he's going to triumph. He is going to triumph over that evil that happened, and you can use that story to bring people closer to God and say, even though this happened to me, there's still grace. There is still, that doesn't make me who I am, and that doesn't define me, and I'm going to be better not because of that, but in spite of that.
Yeah. And it was, and some say, well, you were just a child, you were this, and, where was God? And I forget his name right now. But I was listening to him one day, and he went through just unimaginable stuff. I could see his face, but I can't think of his name. And he said that he had the same question. And then he realized one day, he said, well, God was right there with me, suffering with me. Mm-hmm. He was taking that abuse right along with me. He was suffering with me. He didn't leave me. Mm-hmm. He was there suffering with me, because God gives us free will, and people choose to be evil. They choose to be good. And unfortunately, I was around, I was not brought up by a good person. So to answer some questions on, well, where was God? Well, God was there with me. Could God have brought down 1,000 angels and protected me, protected her, protected, so many? Yeah, of course. But then we would be more like robots. Mm-hmm. And that is not how God created us. He created us as a free will. And we have free will to worship him, to love him. And it's so much better when somebody,
if you freely come to God instead of being forced to God.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's just a robot, like if our kids were robots and they were automatically programmed, I'm going to love you, I love you. But when you first hear those words, I love you, mm-hmm. It's just like, it just melts your heart.
Or when they get up in the morning, the first thing they do is they come to you on their own. Uh-huh. And you don't have to, it's sad that you don't have to get them out of their bed anymore, but they come to you by themselves, and that's the first thing you wake up to, is because they freely chose to come to you. We freely choose to come to God. Imagine what he feels when we do that with him is 10 times more amplified than what we feel when our kids come to us.
Yeah.
And whenever you go through all that and then you still come to God, your view of the other side, as far as the answer to that question, is totally, you see it a lot clearer, because you're the one that went through it versus somebody that did. Not saying we would want anybody to go through that, not at all, but you just see the compassion and the love that he has for us more, because he brought you through it. In the end, he brought you through it, because if you were relying on yourself, ain't no way you could get through it by yourself. There's always going to be times you'll struggle with stuff, that you'll mentally wrestle with stuff, but he's there. He hasn't left you, but you start to develop a sense of security in him in that way that nothing earthside can compete with.
And a lot of times you'll hear Jill talk about our safe spaces. Somebody that's lived through, severe trauma and stuff like that, their safe spaces are vital to them. They are so important. Mm-hmm. And so when you hear us talk of safe spaces, it's not we're expecting a bazooka to come in. It's just places where we feel secure and safe, and we don't have to keep up our guard constantly watching and observing.
You don't have to walk on eggshells. You can just,
Yeah, but I just wanted to put that out there and say, listen, we didn't just up and say, hey, let's talk about this. Maybe it'll get us some views, or no, this
isn't fun to talk about.
No.
Whenever I realized that the audio didn't, I missed part of what I was talking about. It was this part. Like I got some of the good stuff, but I didn't get to talk about Nima and stuff as much as I wanted to. But it was this part too, and part of my brain said, "Okay, don't go over it again." But the other part said, is this the devil trying to keep me from helping someone, sharing how I came through it, going through it. So this isn't fun. this isn't fun.
No, this drudges. I mean, even though I'm in therapy and doing great and phenomenal, and to just sit and put this out there for whoever to see, the world to see, like
It's nerve-wracking.
it's scary, and it's pretty much us stepping out on faith in what God has put before us, and this is what He wants us to do. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there.
No, I'm glad you did, because it was a very good point. It was a very good thing to add. But safe spaces, Nemo's was always my safe space, because he was never, none of them were ever there. Like none of.
Once or twice, but
it was always like
not-
on the porch though. It wasn't like, it was nothing traumatic ever happened at Nemo's.
Yeah.
Nothing ever. I have only good memory. I mean, we got in trouble when we were little, but we were having fun while we got in trouble. But he so back to him trying to sleep in just his underwear, debated, went back and forth for a little while, and finally he said, well, I'm not going to put on my pants, but I'll sleep in my robe. And I think he realized that he was going to be asked questions if he didn't at least do something, that he was going to be caught and that he was going to be exposed. So after that point, our relationship pivoted, and I didn't realize I was noticing differences, but his focus shifted to Webb as far as who the favorite was.
And some may think, well, Donna, why didn't you as a mama just stand up for yourself? And like, that goes to the mentality of how I was brought up. I was programmed for all those years that
Shove it down, stay silent.
we used to talk about how quiet I was as a kid. When I say I didn't talk, I did not talk at all. Very, very little did I talk. And then we figured out why. But also, if you don't talk, you don't get in trouble. If you don't talk, you don't get put down. You don't get belittled. You don't get you don't get told that you're less than. And
You don't get told you're gonna grow up and be white trash.
yeah. Yeah. So that's one thing I was told, that I was going to amount to nothing. But that's one way I raised her, to, sometimes I used to think, man, did I do too good of a job at it? But I raised her to have a voice. I told her, I said, you take up for yourself. You take up for those around you. Like, and then sometimes I had to tell her, it's like, we might need to soften them edges a little bit. But yes, I raised her to stand up for herself. And I thought I never wanted anybody to run over her.
And when it came to me, I was more worried about people running over other people. It wasn't me I was worried about. So she has 2 older brothers, and the oldest one, it's weird how it switched. So it went from, her daddy would sit me and my cousin up on their bathroom sink, and he would want to brush our hair, and he would get mad and upset when I wouldn't let him brush our hair. And it was an odd way. It wasn't like a daddy trying to put up my hair and just gobbing it all together,
or hey, your hair is all messy, come here, let's brush it real quick.
No, it was
like
a ritual. It was like a
caressing,
a little grooming in the grooming of what he was wanting to do, and the grooming sense of preparing you how he wanted you to look. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, I don't want you doing this. I didn't feel comfortable. And again, he was upset with that. And I started pulling away, and it wasn't until I got older till I realized, know why I was pulling away, but it was switched from him to her oldest brother. And the first time anything ever happened, I go back and forth at the age, because sometimes I think, well, it was this age, but I can tell you the teacher I had, because I think that was the moment when my brain chemistry altered, because something pivotal had happened. But I can tell you the teacher I had, but I can't remember the age. I can tell you the shorts I had on and the shirt I was going to put on.
Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. How you can't remember things that happened 5 minutes ago, but there's certain things that unfortunately you just can't forget.
But then on the flip end of it too, there's some days you can remember, like trauma wise, there's some days you can remember one thing, but you can't remember what you remembered yesterday.
Yeah.
It's weird how trauma works.
And there's some parts that, like I said, that I'll probably never recall.
And that you don't want to remember.
The brain, the way my therapist explained it, is sometimes your brain will not allow you to create a core memory for that. And so that memory does not exist. So you'll never recall it. Yours didn't. I think the reason why God did not allow yours to come out any sooner than it did was because it didn't. Mentally, I was not capable of handling it as I should for you.
I don't think I was capable of saying it either, though, because growing up, we've always watched, murder mysteries. We've always done the A&E documentary. We've always watched this, and you would watch it, and you would think, man, this is horrible for this person to go through it. But it's hard to admit it to yourself that, oh, that happened to me. It's hard to admit that it happened to you, and to allow yourself to come to that point to be able to admit that.
Yeah.
It's hard to admit that. It's not like, when you get in trouble or you're little and you get in trouble and you get caught in something and you admit it. That's hard.
Well, first you have to overcome the grooming, like you think it's something about you. What did I do wrong? What is it about me? What's messed up about me? Did I provoke it? And I mean, you have to work through how you have been groomed to think. And then even sitting here talking about it.
And when it's happening, you shut down.
Oh, you completely shut down.
Your mind
mentally go
somewhere else.
Well, you see it as flattering. Like when the others outside the home, there was 3 others outside the home that did lots of things. I didn't realize until therapy that I always saw that as flattering. I was flattered because I felt special. Because, I must be special. And I would willingly subject myself to these situations.
But you also did that so you wouldn't have to go home and deal with other
to
abuse.
Get out of home.
Because it didn't matter where you went. There was abuse there, but there was also abuse at home. So it's like, which one do I choose today? For periods, I was younger, and so I thought I was going to get in trouble because I thought I was doing something wrong.
You thought you did something wrong.
I thought I did something wrong. So I quickly learned to recompose myself and get myself back together, but I didn't realize I was doing that. So people ask, whenever I had to start staying home, I get questions about, well, why didn't you find somebody else to watch your kids? Mama watched them during the week, and it takes a lot for me to trust somebody to be around my kids, to come to the house, to allow you to be in a room with a certain amount of time with my kid. I don't trust people, and people wonder why. And I know this can happen with anybody, and I know one day they'll get older, and I have to trust that God will protect them. But we're not there yet. We are not there yet. So one day at a time.
People crazy.
But if my own flesh and blood uncle will do that, what will somebody else do? What So, I mean, and people can judge all they want. I really don't care. As long I was put, my children were given to me for me to raise them and to, you know, guide them in the ways of the Lord, but also to protect them. And I'm not here to please the world, to please anybody else. Me and Brandon are their parents, and I'm going to protect them, and we're going to protect them. And regardless of what people think, that's if I'm considered overprotective for that, I'm wonderful. I will be overprotective. But in school, I wasn't the normal girl as far as I didn't dress frou frou, and he had certain fetishes, and so when to look at somebody else, you know, with makeup or their nails done, it doesn't bother me about them. Like, that doesn't freak me out on them, but on me, it freaks me out because that was his fetishes. So it was portrayed like, if I was to do that, I thought that I was like attracting it more. And then also you sit there and think, well, if he'll do it, then somebody else will do it, and I am not getting any more attention, and I don't want any more attention. He did we have our oldest brother, and then, you know, the incident with her daddy. But then as I got older with her daddy, his started becoming like fantasizing is the best way I know to call it, because whenever we would sleep, he would, I mean, up until I got married, like, he would wait till he thought I was asleep, and he would sneak in the room, and he would, again, think I was asleep, and he would watch you sleep. and I would lay there sometimes, because I would almost wait for him to do it, so that way I would be awake when he was in there, and then I would go to sleep. But he would watch you sleep, and he would sometimes like rub your head, and I would try to pretend like I was asleep, but he would do that. And back to how he would try to brush our hair and stuff. He always reminded me, but you hear about how these serial murderers or serial rapists or stuff, they like depict stuff from their parent onto their victims. Well, he would always comment on my hair, and how my hair was like his mama's. And you can't tell me this is normal. He had a clipping of his mama's hair he clipped on her deathbed, and he kept it in his wallet. Like, this was up until the last time we had contact with them. He would keep it in his wallet, and he would always compare, when he would bring it out and want to compare my hair to her hair. And you can't say that's normal. You can't say that's normal. I don't care what you say. You can't say that's normal.
But me catching him standing outside y'all's bedroom door back there.
We didn't catch that on the cut.
When y'all had to stay here a little while because they were in transition to the old house in Brookfield, so they stayed here a little while. And I caught him standing outside their bedroom door, and he didn't do it again.
Yeah, I didn't know that until she told me the other night in the first cut. I didn't know that. And but he, at our rehearsal supper, a few people said some stuff, and then Mama was like, does anybody else want to say anything? And we thought we were done. We thought we were good. And he stood up and told everyone, and this was like, if Pa or somebody had said this, it'd have been taken a joking way. They'd have been joking. But that isn't him. And especially if you know what's going on or know what has happened. He stood up and he said, well, she's too young to get married. I don't like this, and I'm kidnapping her, and I'm going to take her away. Silence. The night was, everybody, I think at that point was like, can we go home? That was, and it was a great night up until then. Like, rehearsal went good. I wasn't stressed about anything. I was just like, whatever. But yeah, that was awkward. That was very awkward.
Victor Marks. He's the one that I was talking about. Where was God when all this was going on?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then Victor Marks. Go and listen. I know he's on Sean Ryan's show on YouTube, and he tells his story. And his dad was in the CIA or something like that, and I don't want to spoil it for you. Go and listen to his story. Number one, it will help you to see, like, you're not the only one. I'm not the only one. You would be amazed as you begin to open up, and as God begins to use you, you will be amazed at the number of people. I think now it's like 1 in 3 females. On our next episode, shall we tell them which one's coming up next?
I don't care. That's up to you.
On our next episode, it'll be very interesting. We're going to interview True.
This shall be fun.
My youngest son, her little brother.
He has no filter.
We're going to interview True. Yeah. We have no clue what's going to happen. And if you know True, you... But anyway, this was just to kind of give y'all an idea of us, who we are.
It'll explain as we go things that may not make sense.
Why we have a dark sense of humor.
But we hope, I don't want to say that you love this episode, but we hope this helps. We hope this
encourages. We hope this educates. We hope this, any others that may see it that have had this struggle, maybe they will see it's okay. It's okay to get help. It's okay. Listen, I've topped out on so many antidepressants, it ain't even funny. So now I'm on 2 different ones. One mainly to help with depression, one to help with depression and anxiety. So, like, it's okay. If you got to have medicine, you got to have medicine. It's all right. So, again, look at me. And this is me medicated. Anyway, hang in there. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. It does get better. I don't know when, I don't know what day, and I don't know what year, but it will get better. So y'all hang in there. Love you.
we will see you. We will hopefully see y'all next week. I think we're gonna try and do this every week, but it may be every week. It may be every 2 weeks. Honestly,
She's still in peanuts, like she said. She's still in peanuts.
So, but hopefully we'll get a regulated schedule coming up. So, have a good one.